Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Review Crew here on Sea of Tranquility. I am your host, Jamie Laszlo, and today's crew, we got George Lamie, we got Scott Berry. Scott Berry, it's been a minute. Good to see you on here.
Yes.
And we got Rob Lasanti. What are you doing? How you doing, man?
What's
Got your
going
Earl
on,
Grey
guys?
t-shirt on, ready to go.
Yep.
Spoiler alert with the t-shirt. So we have some albums we want to talk about. It's a good little crew we got today. I always like to think of this show as like the water cooler of Sea of Tranquility. Like sooner or later, you pass by this show. It's a different group of people mixed together talking music every once in a while. So we're gonna start with George. We're gonna go Scott, and then we're gonna go to Rob, and then we'll go to me. George, what's your first pick?
My first pick is Riot, Mean Streets.
Ah,
This is the 17th album from the Lineal Band that goes back to the late 70s. If you want to be pedantic, it's the third one with the Riot 5 designation that they gave themselves to stem the tears of the original lineup Nazis, basically, who uh, decried their continued use of Riot without having any founding members left. Um, Actually, none of the members now were in the band until like 10 years into their existence. Um, but they had permission from Mr. Riot, Mark Reale, who died of Crohn's disease in 2012, unfortunately. And his mom okayed it too to go on with the name. But whatever, they added a five to it because they've had five singers. So let's go on the album itself. They reside now in the kind of like US power metal territory that this is the Thundersteel era of the band, which is basically two albums, 88's Thundersteel and 90's Privilege of Power. So right before Mark died, they had done an album with that singer, and the bass player from that album came back, and the drummer had come back. So they did an album. Mark passed. When they decided to go forward, they said, what are we going to do? So they concentrate a little bit on this style, and then also they're doing some traditional metal here. Probably about a 50-50 mix of speedy songs driven by double bass and traditional metal songs. Um, Opener, Hail to the Warriors, that's a punchy tune. And then you got a song called Feel the Fire, which you may go and listen to it, but I hear a strong resemblance to the Priest classic Grinder. Then you got Love Beyond the Grave. That might be my least favorite track. Still solid, but then starts a run of songs that represent the best part of the album for me. You got High Noon, Before This Time, Higher, the title track. These are all driven by catchy riffs, memorable vocal melodies. Uh, the singer on all three Ride 5 albums is this guy, Todd Michael Hall. He was actually on The Voice. You want to go look at clips of that? It's pretty humorous. Um, Dude's got big pipes, an incredible enunciation to go with a gift for melodies. Enunciation is kind of a thing that you probably doesn't go talked about very much, but something about this guy sticks out to me. Like I can hear, I know everything he's saying. I'm not a big lyrics guy, but I understand it all.
I think you're
Somebody,
the first person I've ever heard talk about enunciation on any show I've ever watched on SOT.
yeah, I'm thinking about it, and it's like, when do I ever notice that? But I really noticed that with this guy for whatever reason. Really clean. The instrumentalists, they're kind of no frills to me, but solid all day long. Uh, I would actually liken this to an album from earlier in the year, which is Priest's Invincible Shield. It's like that. It's a mix,
Oh,
probably 50-50 mix of traditional metal and speedy numbers driven by double bass and an excellent vocalist. But this production's definitely got more life to it than that album did. It was a little bit flat on the production end. If you like Riot before, I totally recommend it. Even if you don't, if you like traditional metal, I say check this out. You're probably going to like it. I'm going 4 stars with this one.
all right.
Riot.
I know Pete reviewed it
nice.
this week as well, and he liked it.
And I heard some of it myself, and it's pretty good. Yeah.
It's a bit of a grower. The first listen, I was like, okay. By the third listen, I was like, yeah, this is good.
Hmm.
I thought maybe I'm surprised you were going to review that album. I thought maybe it'd be a little too straightforward rock and rolly for you or something. No.
Style wise, it's probably not up my alley, but I've been into this band since, Fire Down Under. So
Okay.
I keep an eye on what they're doing.
I got you. Scott, what do you got for us?
All right, sir. Well, I've been a Neil Young fan for at least the last 40 years. I got most of his studio albums, whole bunch of his live stuff. And he's been releasing tons of archival recordings from the vaults over the last 10 to 15 years, some studio, but most of it live. Today, I'm going to cover a recent release from the archive series. This is Fucking Up, which is a live performance of the 1990 album Ragged Glory, recorded late last year. And this album has been, or Ragged Glory, that's been one of my favorites since it first came out. The original album got a lot of attention when it came out because Dale was just coming off of a kind of a bad patch in the 80s. A lot of his 80s albums just didn't really connect with people.
He got back on the road with Freedom, I think. Kind of.
Yeah, he did. You're right about that. But I would say this is the album that shows it wasn't a fluke, right?
Yeah.
And he reunites with Crazy Horse here for the first time in many years, and the result was just this white hot blistering set of ass kicking songs, which surprised many. And it's easily a top 10 Neil album for me. I might even crack my top 5, considering how many albums he has. That's pretty damn good. But back to this. Got my hype sticker there. It's a big one. Band still sounds amazing, and they have lost none of their fire. Neil at times does sound a little vocally strained in places, because of his age, but the performance is still full of passion and intensity, and just like on the original album, as well as on the follow-up live album, Weld, that came out the following year. And as expected, the songs go on a little bit longer than their studio counterparts, and but there's some great jamming and improvisation on those songs. For some reason, Neil decided to change the names of the songs on the listings here. Country Home is City Life. Love Country Home. White Line Feels Like a Railroad. Fucking Up is Heart of Steel. Over and Over is Broken Circle. Love to Burn is Valley of Hearts. Farmer John, that was a cover, so they didn't really change the title on that one. Mansion on the Hill is Walking in My Place. Days That Used to Be is To Follow One's Own Dream. And Love and Only Love is A Chance on Love. Few changes in the band since the original. You still got Billy Talbot on bass. You still got Ralph Molino on drums, but we now have Micah Nelson on guitar and piano, who replaced the late Frank Pancho San Pedro, who died a few years back. But he doesn't miss a beat. He sounds great on this. And we also have the addition of Nils Lofgren on guitar and piano, and Nils kind of goes way back with Neil. He was on the After the Gold Rush album.
Yeah.
I was a little taken aback that they left Mother Earth off, which was the final track on the original album. Well, I found it. This was released late last year. It's called Before and After, and it's an acoustic set. And like this one, the songs they all kind of go together. There's no break between the songs. They just go from one right into the other. And they were both recorded in kind of a intimate performance, so you're not hearing the big roar of the crowd on these. So it's fairly quiet in the background. It's a live album, but you not a lot of crowd noise. But I think Mother Earth on this does benefit pretty well from the acoustic arrangement. It was one of the mellower songs on the album, and it's got some pump organ in there, which I think just gives it a whole different dimension. And being that that was kind of a song that was sort of an environmental warning, and considering how messed up the environment is today, you know, it makes it even sadder. Um, but I highly recommend this for Neil fans, for Crazy Horse fans, for Ragged Glory fans. If you like that, get it. The power, the fire, the intensity, the fuzz, the distortion, it's all here. And it just sounds great.
All about the fuzz.
All right.
Absolutely.
You know, this show tonight might be full of firsts. That might be the first time Scott Barry ever dropped an F-bomb on CH Run.
It wasn't.
Oh, that wasn't? Okay.
No. I try not to make a habit of every show, but yeah, every now and then they come out.
Okay.
It is the title of the album, so I have to say it, right?
You have to say it, yeah. Rob, what do you want to talk about first?
Well, I might as well. The elephant's in the room. So what happened was Pete reached out to me, and he had gotten Napalm's streaming of this album. So he said, do you want to do a review on it? He says, I know how much you love Evergrey. And I said, of course. So I've been listening to this now for 2 weeks, about 2 weeks. And it's the 14th album in their history. You know, the last few albums pretty much have been in the same vein, so to speak. I mean, every album's a little bit different and has different things in it. But this album was mixed by, and I know that George will know this, Nolly from Periphery.
Yeah.
He mixed the album. So this album definitely has a little bit different type of sound. The bass is heavier and thicker. The guitars are really thicker and heavier, and the soloing is there, but it's really in your face kind of stuff. And it's different than the last few albums, definitely. You know, you still have Tom on vocals, of course, Henrik on guitar, Ricard on keyboards, Johan on bass, and this is his last album. He is leaving Evergrey, the drummer who's been with them since 2000, I think. 2000. They have a guy named Simon Sadness. I think he's from T-Mic. I don't know if you guys ever heard. Yeah, George might, because they're a progressive band. So he joined the band recently. But Jonas is a big part of this, obviously. He also helped produce this. Him and Tom produced the album. So there's 11 tracks on the album. And I have to say, you know, if you know Evergrey, I don't know, you know, some followers of Sea of Tranquility obviously know Evergrey, you know, because not only do I like them a lot, but so does Pete. And I have to say that their themes have always been the same, you know, dark themes, how do you say it? Melancholy, you know, very, you know, a lot of, sometimes it could be sad, but it could be happy too in certain things. The themes are pretty much the same on every album, and this album is no different. But like I said, I find that this album has, the choruses are bigger. I'll go through the songs real quick. I mean, you got the opening track, Falling from the Sun, which was a single, one of the singles. I think was it the first single? I think it was the first single. Fast mid-pace song, really in your face, you know, right away with the guitar. It's about 4 minutes long. And then you got the next song, which is really kind of a slow, darker song called Misfortune, only 3 minutes long. Then the next one was kind of a surprise for me when I listened to it. It's called To Become Someone Else. It has some nice Hammond organ, and I don't think they've ever used Hammond organ at all in Evergrey, you know, but the riffs are crushing, and that's really good. One of my favorite songs on the album. Say, which is another single. Johan's bass on that is incredible. He plays really well on that song, and it's another great song. This next song, Ghost of My Hero, it took me a couple of listens to really get into it. It's really slowed down. It's got some epic power chords in it. And it's just, you know, it's like one of those slow, real melodic, heavy songs that they do. It's about 5 minutes long. But then we get to the second half of this album, and I have to say they turn it up a notch for me. This is just me. It's my opinion. We Are the North. Great atmosphere, great choruses. The whole gang's into it. Really big, right in your face. And then the next song, which I'm going to talk about, is called One Heart. Incredible riffs. It kind of reminds me of like old Queensryche from the early 80s. Great choruses and two great solos in it with Wah Wah, which is really, Henrik really sounds great on this album. But there's a chorus. I don't ask me to repeat it, but it's a chorus, and there's a gang. It's called gang vocals. Well, what happened was I was actually emailed to be on the album to do that. So I had to record my voice and sing a certain part of this song, and everybody that was a fan that wanted to do it sent it in. Well, I sent it in. So I guess I'm on the album. I don't know. I don't have the actual physical album, so I don't know if they have anybody's names on it or whatever, but I still think it's cool. So, for me, I mean, especially being a big Evergrey fan. So that song is probably not because I'm on it, but because I think it's just a great song, and it's really heavy and it's really fast. The next one's called The Night Within, mid-paced, great vocals, another great solo by Henrik. Cold Dreams, which George and I were talking about earlier. That one comes, Jonas from Catatonia is doing the growl vocals. Now, this is the first time in the history of Evergrey that they ever had growl vocals on an album. They had James Labrie on one album a couple albums ago, but this is, definitely something different for them. And, it's short. It's not, if you're not into growl vocals or whatever, that may, it still goes great with the song. It's a very dark song. And then you get Tom's daughter, Selena, and she brings an angelic voice into it. So it's kind of like that, you got the darkness, and then you got that
balance.
Yeah, it's really a nice, different type of a song. And then
I like that.
Then number 10, Our Way Through Silence. This one is really a beautiful song. It's like the old Evergrey with the beautiful piano and Tom's vocals. It's just, Tom has got that melodic voice, that is just, I don't know. I think he's one of the best singers in the last, 20 years of this kind of music, of metal, because he just knows how to do it. I mean, he really does. He knows how to do it, and he knows how to emote emotion that I can actually feel it, and that's what I love about Evergrey. They really do induce emotion in me as a person. I just love their music. So, and that's a mid-paced song. So that's one of my favorite songs. And then the last track is called A Theory of Emptiness, which is what the album was called. And it's really it's what do you call that when you're leaving an album? The last song, when kind of like it's not really a song. It's got piano in it and stuff, but it's
Outro.
That's like an outro. Yeah, exactly, an outro. So that's what that song is. All in all, I would say I would give this, out of 5 stars, I give it a 4.5, maybe 4.25, somewhere right in there. I really need to be with it a little bit longer, because this is like the last few albums. I love all their albums. I mean, there's only maybe the only albums that I ever didn't like, and I could tell you, is Glorious Collision. I was never crazy about that album. I mean, I have it, and I listened to it, but it's not one of my favorite albums. But everything else I pretty much listen to. And so for me, again, it's a great, if you're into Evergrey, or if you're into this type of music where it's melodic and heavy, you're going to like it. I mean, and Tom's voice is definitely one of the, I said, one of the better vocalists of today, so that's my review on this album for now.
All right. About a decade ago, I got into Camelot when Ghost Opera came out.
Yeah.
I was all about Camelot for a minute. And someone told me to get into Evergrey if I like Camelot. And I tried them, and I just couldn't. There was I don't know why I couldn't get into Evergrey. But I'll tell you, I heard the first leading single off this album, and I kind of dug it. It might be those heavier guitars that you're talking about. might be doing it for me.
Yeah, and if you like, I remember the last album had this song called "Call in the Dark." Wow, I love that song. If you like really heavy guitars, listen to that song.
Okay.
And Tom's vocals on that song was great. You just got to give them a try, you know. So
Yeah.
Robert, these guys have been around for a while, right?
well, actually, they've been around 30 years. Tom started the band in '93.
Quite a while.
And they're in the 30th. Yeah, this is the 30th year, but basically, they've been through a few, but people, but they've had pretty much the same musicians for the last 20 years. You know, I mean, I got into them around 2001.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, my introduction to them was "In Search of Truth," which is probably still my favorite album and one of my favorite albums of all time, not just of Evergrey. That album is really great. But and then the albums after that. But like I said, you know, they're pretty much if you like I said, if you like bands like you know, kind of like Queensryche and stuff, because some of
Okay.
their stuff is mixed up. You can hear those elements in it, but they're really their own band. You know, that's why it's hard to describe the genre when you say, well, is
I
it
hear you. Yeah,
you know, there's progressiveness in
they're
it too.
not too derivative, but they do have some influence.
That's why I like
sure.
them, because it's not just one thing. It's not, you know, you can't just tag them for one thing. You know, power metal,
Gotcha.
progressive metal, heavy metal. It's all mixed in there. So
I need to check them out.
Yeah, 30-year-old band. All right, I'm going to talk about a 3-year-old band. And I love to stumble across these bands that just come out of nowhere into my life. This band, who called Yeast Machine, formed 2021. They're from Germany. There you go. There's the boys. What do they play? Well, they play grungy stoner rock. You know, a lot of stoner rock these days they could call stoner rock, but if this music came out 30 years ago, we'd be calling it grunge. Album is called Sleaze, which is weird because it makes you think like a sleaze metal, you know, like it's going to be a Skid Row album, but it's not. Released April 19th, so it's been out a few weeks, 2024, and there's the album cover, Sleaze. I really dig this album. They the first half, I will say the lead singer has quite a unique little voice going on. He has like a smoky voice. I would say it's a cross between Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, Magnus Palander from Witchcraft, and he's got a little bit of Jacob Dylan in him from the Wallflowers. But what he has most of all is I always screw up his name, Joachim Nielsen, the lead singer of Graveyard. He sounds a lot like that dude, big time. Some of these songs you would, if I didn't know better, I'd say, oh, that's Graveyard. They kind of changed their sound a little bit. For the most part, this album is it's ass shaking music. It's music to shake your ass to. Even the mid-tempo, more moody stuff gets you going. And the songwriting is really good, but the songs have some tricks up their sleeves. When you hear the songs, you know, a lot of times you hear an album like the new Judas Priest. What you hear the first 45 seconds is what you get for the whole song. These guys give you interludes, spoken words, breakdowns within the song. So there's always something to look forward to within the song. And you're not going to get big blazing guitar solos here, I should say, but you get a rhythm section that's almost tribal. It just goes and moves. The first half is filled with the mid-tempo songs, like Garden Wall. There's not much going on music-wise in some of these songs in the first half. Some of the times, but when the music, what I'm trying to say is when the music does come down and gets a little mellow, the lead singer carries the melody. You know, I was listening to Foreigner's The Damage Is Done. Is that the name of that song? The Damage Is Done. And in the beginning of that song, the band isn't doing much. It's just dun, dun. And Lou Gramm is carrying the melody with his voice in that song. That's what's going on with a lot of these songs on the first half. And then something changes halfway through, and you get to Brittle Pillars. And that's where it really sounds like Graveyard because of the singing voice. But it's big, it's bombastic, and it moves, man. You can't sit still when you listen to a song like that. Again, not big guitar solos, but big guitar riffs and big tribal rhythm section going on. And that's the one that has the spoken word, and then it's even moving during the spoken word. And when that's done, it even picks up the pace even more and just kind of jams right in your face. And that goes into the circling bird. It picks up right from there. Oof, the rhythm just keeps going, and that's like a big crowd pleaser. Like you could see like a small rock club them playing that, and just everyone hopping up to that kind of song. Great fun. That song, the beginning of it reminds me of Turbo Lover, that dun 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 dun, dun kind of thing going with the song that everyone says they hate but they really love. Rip It Off is the song after that. Great ass kicker. You guys like it. Those three songs right there, 1, 2, 3 punch. Great. Even the moodier songs that come before that, great. It's not a long album. It does end with I Can See, which is the guy's voice is really good during the whole album. Then they come to this one, it's almost like an outro. It's a little acoustic ditty, but the lead singer really sounds like he's in agony, and not in a good depressing way, like someone's stepping on his toe while he sings. I'm like, what? I don't like. I see what you're going for, but it ain't working. But if we go to the rock and roll report card on this one, I would say the production's a B plus, very good, very solid. The songwriting, A minus. I think these songs are really well done. And like I said, they got tricks up their sleeve along the way. Musicianship, I get no blazing solos or anything, but they're doing what they need to do. Vocals, I would give it, look, I got to take into account the whole album, right? I would give it a higher than a B, but that last song, man, his vocals is what ruins it. So I got to put that into the equation and give it a B. I do have it ordered, but I got a message from Amazon that it's got delayed at customs. Whatever the hell that means. I don't know. Somebody put a little weed in my CD or something and they confiscated it. I don't know. But it's if you like stoner rock, it's a mixture of 90s and 70s put together. Go give it a try. It's on YouTube. Doesn't hurt to try it. So, George.
That's why you held up the customs, Jamie. It's so stoner rock. It smells like pot.
Yeah, it smells like pot.
The dogs like nuts.
The dogs
right?
are barking at stoner rock.
Stoner rock. Yeah.
George, what do you have next?
Still can't make Prezi work tonight. No visuals. My second one is a new band called Royal Time Machine. It's a self-titled record. They're from Greece. It's the debut of an instrumental power trio with guys with a interesting mix of backgrounds. Drummer George Kalias. He's got a long resume, most notable for being in the technical death metal band Nile. Guitarist Yannis Papadopoulos is the guitar player for Scott Stapp from Creed fame, of all things. And bassist Michael Evdeman is a fusion guy with a excellent 2014 solo album to his credit that I have. So what do they sound like together? Well, it's progressive. It rocks. It's pretty heavy. There's virtuoso playing, obviously. Kind of plays out like a Guitar Hero album, like, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, except this has a real band aesthetic because it is a band, and it sounds like it was put together like a band in a practice room, not a guy passing out the demos and learn my song. Sounds like a real band. And there's just as many bass solos on here as guitar solos. It's a democratic process from the sound of it. If you like rock instrumental albums, I think you should be all over this. I would say I like this more than the Aristocrats album that came out a couple months ago that people go nuts for those guys. I think this is better than that. The tunes stay with me more. I'm not going to do a track by track on this one because the consistency of quality from track to track is one of the biggest strengths of this album. It's not like, oh, you can't wait to get to the third song. That one's good. Okay, now I want to hear 5. It's not like that. This is a definite true straight listen through. It's 9 tunes. There is one ballad, but it's not too far off the pace of what you're expecting with the rest of the record. It's a good tune. So if you like instrumental stuff, I suggest you jump in on it. They have a Bandcamp. You can hear the whole record up there. And if you're a physical copy guy like us, you can go to their Facebook, and there's a link to physical copies on the Facebook. Royal Time Machine, self-titled.
Cool. Nice.
Hey, George, you
Yeah.
might have to clear out your cookies on your Prezi app on Zoom.
Okay.
Try that and see if that works for you, because I had a problem too with mine, and now I figured it out. There's on your settings on Prezi
Mhm.
app, and then you go and it says clear cookies, and you clear the cookies out, and I had no problem after that. But you got to do
Okay.
it every time you use it, I think, or something.
Oh.
They still haven't gotten all the kinks out of it.
Good to have an IT guy in the house. Scott, what you got?
All right. So a couple of months ago, right before I did my first review crew episode, Pete sent me a box of 5 CDs to listen to and for potentially to review on the show. And of that 5, 1 I really hated. 2 were kind of meh, maybe some
Talk about the
redeeming
one you
qualities,
hate.
but not good enough.
Come on.
Come on.
Yeah, I can do that. And then there were a couple too that I genuinely liked, and this is one of the ones that I liked. This is the Hillbilly Moon Explosion.
Wow. Can't say I ever heard that.
And this band hails from Zurich, Switzerland. The music is just a great mix of rockabilly and punk, and it's got some surf guitar. I mean, I guess you might call it psychobilly, but I think it leans a little more towards the traditional. Some might call it psychobilly, but like I said, it's not quite as raucous as that. Maybe in a couple of places. Absolutely love the vocals on here. Gosh, I had her name. Now I can't remember. Emanuela Hutter. And I'm probably butchering her name. She sings almost the songs, and she also plays rhythm guitar, and I just love her voice. Oliver Baroni, he is the second vocalist on here. He sings on a few songs, not as many as her, and he also plays the slap bass. Duncan James plays an awesome, just twangy guitar, lots of reverb, and Sylvain Petit, he's the drummer. Most of the songs are pretty upbeat and a lot of fun. And I like a band where you have that alternating male and female vocals in there. Emanuela's voice reminds me a little of Hope Sandoval from Mazzy Star, if you know who she is. Very feminine, kind of a haunting quality to her vocals. At times, their style kind of veers a little toward Americana, which is kind of weird for a Swiss band, but there it is.
Influenced. Yeah.
I could definitely hear some early Johnny Cash influence on the song Always Just You.
Well, she looks like
overall,
June Carter.
Yeah, I can see where you'd say that in that photo, kind of.
Oh, okay, yeah. Nah, I thought she had longer hair. Okay.
I'd say, it kind of combines sort of a dark atmosphere, but it has kind of an upbeat, fun feel to it. I was surprised to learn this band has been around for a while, since the early 2000s. This is the 10th, their 10th studio album. I think early on their stuff wasn't released in the US, so it took them a little while to kind of get a foothold here. But I'm liking it enough that I'm going to start investigating the back catalog. I'm digging it a lot. So I would say if you like bands like the Cramps or Reverend Horton Heat, Social Distortion, maybe X. X may because of the female and male vocals alternating. Check these guys out. I think you'll enjoy them.
All
Good
right,
stuff.
nice.
Ooh.
Rob, what you got for us next? Oh, I know what you got for us next.
Well, you know what I like about this show tonight? It's very diverse. You know,
Yeah.
we got rockabilly and country and Americana, and then
Not saying fuck.
we got we got prog metal. We got stoner, and then we got metal and thrash. So
I'm
No.
curious to see what you think about this album because the two songs I heard.
I actually like it, and I'll
Okay.
tell you why. Well, okay. So let's go over the band. So you got Mark. I'm bad with names. So Mark from Death Angel. How about that? Mark from Death Angel is the singer. You got Phil DeMel playing guitar from Machine Head. You got Kyle Sanders playing bass from Hell Yeah. And then you got Paul Bostaff, the drummer from Slayer, Exodus, and Testament, which is my favorite thrash band. So you got a great, and Kerry King, obviously, his album. So I have to say, the hype at first I was like, well, how good is it going to be or whatever. And of course you had a couple songs that came out. Right off the bat, it's very Slayer-like. I'm not going to lie. It is very Slayer-like. Okay. You got a guy who's been in Slayer for forever. So of course it's going to sound like Slayer, but I have to say it's good. It's a good album. Is it their best album? I don't know. I think it's his only album, right? He only has this one album.
As a
So
solo artist.
yeah, I mean, it opens up with an instrumental called Diablo, and then it goes right into this. I mean, really crazy double bass "Where I Reign," and I'm gonna say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 songs that I really like on here out of 13, which is not bad. The other song, I think it's a little bit long. I think if it was cut down a little bit more, it would have been even a better album. I think they went just a little bit too long on, like, Shrapnel, 5 minutes long. There's no reason for it to be that long. Most of the songs are only three and a half to 4.5 minutes. So, but it's heavy. The production is great on it. Mark sounds incredible, and I like Death Angel also. I like thrash, so I definitely like. And Paul is great. The drums are honest, are incredible. I've been listening to it a lot the last few weeks. This wasn't a promo or anything. I bought this album, and if you like Slayer, you're gonna like it. I mean, I looked at some of the reviews on it, and most of the reviews were, pretty good. I would say most people 4 out of 5 stars, 3 out of 5 stars. I would give it 3.5. I would give it a 3.5. I mean, this is just, like I said, the first solo album, and I've been listening to it a lot the last few weeks, and I gotta say it's, I don't really skip the songs. Maybe one song I didn't like. That was it. That I really didn't grab me or something. But most of it's going to be Slayer sounding. So
But what era of Slayer? The new metal?
Well,
Slayer?
yeah, that's okay. So I'll tell you this. So the song "Toxic," which is that sounds like old Slayer. That riff that's on it, that's definitely old Slayer. And then you got "Idle Hands." That's also very Slayer. For me, the song that I liked that was really crazy was "Crucifixion." Mark sounds really good on that one. And from the last song "From Hell I Rise," that's a great song too. I really like that song a lot. Like I said, the songs are good. I would not. I don't know. I don't. I know there's going to be controversy with people because Kerry King and people don't like him and this. I don't give a shit about all that stuff with Kerry King. I don't care. I listen to music for music. I don't care about politics. I don't care about all that stuff. And they talk about politics on this album. I'm not gonna lie. That's what Toxic's about. I don't give a shit. If the music speaks to me and I like it and you know what I mean? That's all I care about. I don't, if that was the case, I would never listen to any music. So,
All right.
That's my review.
Well,
I mean,
there.
it's a good album. I give it
Positive
3.5.
I read it. I read a couple. Well, I read one bad one. Angry Metal Guy.
Oh, he hates everything. Angry metal guy, he hates everything.
Angry metal guy. I
He
love
does.
that.
Go look at his reviews for a lot of music. It's always he hates everything.
Well, he doesn't hate the one I'm going to talk about next. But all right, well, yeah, there's a positive review. You know, if you like Slayer, you got to give it a try, right? Got to. I'm going to here. This is me jumping out of my wheelhouse, man, because I'm going to talk about something I never imagined I'd be talking about in a million years. But I stumbled across another band 2 weeks ago. I was like, what am I going to talk about next week or in 2 weeks? And then I got like too much stuff to talk about. I had to narrow it down. So I came across this band, man, that for sure, I thought I was going to hate. I hate myself for liking them. This band is called Nestor. And they were formed, well, they were formed in 1989, but they did some EPs of cover songs. They covered like U2 and some crap. They really didn't go anywhere. And then they kind of disbanded. And then they all got back together. They started talking during COVID. And then they all got back together again as older gentlemen in 2021. And they really started doing what they should have been doing in 1989. They're from Sweden. And what do they play? Cheesy rock music that sounds like it was buried in a time capsule in 1986 and just recently was dug up. That's what they sound like to a fucking T. And that's why I thought I was going to hate this. The album's called Teenage Rebel, released just a week ago, May 31st, 2024. This is their second album. And if you can see the cover there, you got some teenagers there looking at posters on the wall. One of the posters is Sylvester Stallone in Cobra, which came out in 1986.
How 80s can you get? Yeah.
Right. And I think there's like, what's her name? Samantha Fox, was that her name? Down there. I like how the Cobra poster has the folds in it, like it's an authentic movie poster. But they might have been rolling posters and sending them to movie theaters by 86, but I'm not sure. Anyways, I digress. I don't know where to start with this album, but it does start like a minute and a half little. You hear the sound of a radio turning, and you hear news clips, and you hear old school arcade machines sound effects, and it's like a minute and a half. You're going into the time machine. Here we go back to the 80s. It's like a little minute and a half flying into the 80s, and then it's just the song. Here come the songs, and it's amazing how they got the production down to sound like it came out of the 80s, and the song structure wise, these songs, how they sound like they came out of the 80s. This does not sound like a lot of retro bands today where it sounds like a modern band trying to do old school music. This sounds like it came out of 1986.
What label is it, Jamie?
It's on what is it? Napalm.
Wow.
Yeah, which is known for like harder stuff.
I was thinking Frontiers when you said you were talking about it, but okay.
Yeah, well, it sounds like Journey Frontiers, but it's not on Frontiers. So they're not as tongue-in-cheeky as like a band like Steel Panther, but there is some tongue-in-cheek, but it all feels genuine. When you hear this music on this album, you feel like this is who these guys are. They couldn't change if they wanted to. And if you look at the picture of them there, or on the CD, yeah, I always say the more conditioner the band members use in their hair when they're showering, the cheesier the music. And their hair is pretty shiny. If the hair is as shiny as the logo, it's going to be pretty cheesy. And normally I don't go for this kind of stuff, but these guys went all in. And that's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. There's the 80s hard rock tropes in this. This is amazing how they did this. The tropes are there, but you don't listen to it and notice the tropes. Oh, there's that part. Oh, there's that. The tropes are part of the song, and the song is the song, and it feels like the song has always been around, and that's how you play it, and you're not going to play it any other way. And that's that. This is what I was thinking of. You know, the Flash from DC Comics. This is what this album's like. If the Flash from DC Comics went into the Speed Force, and then popped out. I don't know if you guys know comic books or superheroes, and popped out into alternate reality. All right, which is kind of similar to ours, but a little different. Where the reality or the universe the Flash went into, they go, oh, we don't know Journey, but we have Nestor. And they hand the Flash this and say, and this is their greatest hits album. That's what this is. It sounds like a greatest hits album. Every song sounds like a hit from 1986. Some of the times they start and you go, oh, I think I know this song. No, you don't. They just came out a week ago.
There's a lot of bands that I know that have that kind of sound. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to go through song for song. Just
Man.
think of most of these sound like you Rocky could do if they didn't make a Rocky movie, they could have used these songs for a montage of him working out. This is Rocky doing one arm push-up music, man. I listened to their first album too, and by golly, I like it too. It's a little bit more tongue-in-cheeky. They have a song on the first one called Perfect 10, Eyes Like Demi Moore, one called 1989, and a cover of Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody, which I think is just a well-written song and a great song. And they kind of rock it up. So I'm going to do the report card on this, all right? But I think it needs to be judged first. You know, I did a circle graph last show. I'm going to do something similar because it's the only way to really do it. But it's a circle scale instead. So what I was thinking is, here's a scale. This is genius right here. Let's call this genius. Can you see that? Genius. And as you turn around and go through the scale, you get further from genius and you get dumber. Down here it says peak of dumbness. So you have the peak of dumbness here because it's the furthest away from genius. But as you keep moving and you're still on the side of dumbness, but moving up, getting further away from genius, but are you? You're kind of getting closer to genius as you come up this way, but still moving in the dumb rotation. And this is where Nestor is. One notch away from the 360, completely dumb, but so close to genius at the same fucking time. And that's what this album is. Dumb as fuck. Goddamn is a genius. Almost. So, I mean, the report card production, A fucking plus. A plus. How they did that, I don't know. Songwriting, A plus. They must have watched Rocky 3, Rocky 4, and every
Breakfast
other
Club.
movie from the mid 80s just to get the feel of it. Musicianship, but I'll tell you what, that guitar player he's pretty damn good. B plus. Vocals, A, right where you want them to be. Not only are they getting a really great report card, but they're getting a note from the teacher saying, great work, well done, 3-star stickers. And not just any teacher, a really hot teacher from the 80s is giving that report card and maybe a nip slip, after school. Oh, what do you think of that? So, yeah, I can, if you like AOR, if you like, God, I'm not even a Survivor fan, but these guys take Survivor type music and just make it better in a way. So yes, you got to try Nestor. First song, first album, second album. What track? Pick any. Some are ballads. It doesn't matter. Some are rockers. Just pick any one. And I'm pretty sure if you like that kind of music, you're going to love this band. What I got next here? Case of the singles. Not a lot this show. The Secret from Black Rainbows. They are doing a split album with Nebula, and The Secret is what they released first on the YouTube. It's pretty good. It's like 5.5 minutes long, well, a little over 5 minutes long, and kind of jams. Black Rainbows is a stoner rock band. Really good. If you don't know what a split is, kiddos, it's when two bands go, hey, I got 5 songs, and the other band goes, I got 5 songs too. Let's just make one album, your 5 songs on one side and our 5 songs on the other side, and we'll release it. I Got a Woman by Kenny Wade Shepherd. You know, by the numbers, Kenny Wade Shepherd. He'll never top Blue on Black. Fantastic song. And we talk about everything here on the review crew. Houdini by Eminem was just released a week ago. I'm not a rap guy, and I don't see the talent that people see in a lot of rap guys. I kind of see the talent in Eminem, though. I will say he samples the shit out of Abracadabra by Steve Miller Band, which I never got the sampling for the last 30 years. I always said coming up with hooks is hard. So if you can't do it, I guess you steal them. So that's my review on that. I don't know if you guys have. Hey, Rob, I just wanted to show you. I was doing a show right before this one on t-shirts. And if you like Testament, look at that t-shirt.
Oh yeah, I have that one actually.
Crazy loud. Yeah.
Sweet.
So that's it, guys. Nice tight show, less than an hour. Got through it. So if anyone has anything, anyone want to plug anything?
I just want to make 2 honorable mentions. I'm not going to even.
Oh, go ahead.
That are good albums this year that I like so far. Vanden Plas, their new album came out about a month and a half ago.
Okay.
And this one, Pete, Temple of the Fuzz Witch, talking about fuzz. This is like real heavy fuzz and dark death metal growls. If you're guys into that,
I reviewed them
I mean,
on
I
this
know
show.
You guys might not be into it. I'm talking about the audience.
I reviewed them on this show.
They've been on my repeat list too, these 2 other albums. So,
That cover looks awful familiar. Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, Scott, I think you were on that show, weren't you? When I reviewed it.
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, Jamie, I don't know if I'll like Nestor or not, but you piqued my curiosity.
Oh,
at the
you've
very
got to at
least.
least listen to it.
I at least
Just-
gotta hear it.
I mean, am I going to listen to Nestor all the time? No. But this summer
Like
out on
Pretty
the
Made?
deck,
Is
when
it
I'm
like
by the
Pretty
pool
Made?
and in the pool, I'll be playing a little Jafria and Vision Quest soundtrack, and Nestor will be right in the middle. He'll be a nice
All
little
right.
fit right there.
Sounds like it works.
Vision Quest. I remember that movie. Oh my God, I'm old.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're all old.
Lunatic
Don't
Fringe.
worry about it, Rob. There's no young people on. Very few young people even watching us. So anyways, guys, visit us on the web over at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Click on subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you're alerted of all the shows as we post them. And those thumbnails are coming up, aren't they? Or what's going to play next. Go away, thumbnails. I'm still talking. Please hit the like button. And we have a Ko-Fi to give a little bit of money to the channel. And there's a merch page to get the hat that I'm wearing. And there's the Cameo page. So give Pete some money on Cameo and he will send you a video inviting you to come over and hang out at his pool for the weekend. No, he will not do that. All this shit I say is not true. He will just send you a little message. Don't go over there and ask him to come over and go swimming in his pool or anything. Don't be creepy like that. So until next time, guys, when we have a different crew doing different reviews, we will see you then. Take care, guys.